Lesson 28, evaluating fractional parts of a number and evaluating expressions using the functional notation. Now remember that we have learned this equation before, which is that if we multiply the fraction times the total, we get the part that is represented by that fraction. So when they give us examples like this, we are going to translate and try to form this equation that we can work with. So remember that 3/4 of means multiplication, and what number, I can just put an n for the variable or the unknown. Is means equal, so we write the equal and then we write 69. Now to solve for n, we need to leave n by itself, so the 3/4 that is multiplying is going to go to divide. When we divide by a fraction, we have to multiply by the reciprocal. And then remember that to simplify that, I can first reduce and then multiply. So I can reduce here the 3 by 3, which is 1, and 69 by 3, which is 23. And so all we have to do is multiply 23 times 4, which is 92. In the next example, we also have to translate. So what we don't know is the fraction, so we're going to use f as our unknown, the variable that we want to find, of multiplication 48 is equals 20. Notice that they're asking for a fraction, so I'm going to pass the 48 that is multiplying to divide, but I'll put it as a fraction. And we want to leave the answer as a fraction because that's what they're asking for. So we're going to reduce 20 and 48. I see that both of them can be divided by 4. So 20 divided by 4 is 5, and 48 divided by 4 is 12. There's nothing else, so our answer is 5/12. In the next example, we have something very similar, but we are working with mixed numbers. So I'm going to put 2 1/3 of 210 is equals what number? Now we have to pass that mixed number to improper because when we multiply or divide, we have to always work with fractions and non-mixed numbers. So that's going to be 7/3 times 210. Now notice that the n, or the number that we don't know, it's already by itself. So we're ready to simplify here. So again, I divide by 3, which is 1. And if I divide 210 divided by 3 is 70. And now we just have to multiply 7 times 70, which is 490. And that's our number. In the second part of the lesson, what we're going to review is the functional notation. Now, the functional notation is this f of x. And that's how we read it. We read it f of x. Although we're not multiplying, you can hear there the word of, but it's not multiplication. It's just the way we say that, f of x. And it's just a way of writing the same idea of evaluation, but as idea of a machine. Think about the f of x as a machine. So we're going to put numbers in here, and when they go into the machine, they do some things to it, to the number, and then we get a result. So we are evaluating just as we have done in the past, with parentheses and changing the letters for the value given, but we're going to do it in a more fancy way. So in this case, it says that if the machine f of x is 3x squared minus 5x, what is f of -2? So in a way, they're just saying evaluate -2 in this expression and see what you get. So that's what we're going to do. And just as we learned in the past about evaluation, we have to change each letter for a parenthesis. That's the first step we're going to do. Then we're going to put the number that they're giving us. In this case, is the -2 inside of each parenthesis because we're changing the value of the letter for the value given here by the exercise. And then we just simplify. This is 3 times 4. And then this is a multiplication, which is plus 10. And then this is 12 plus 10, which is 22. Now, this f of negative 2 stays till the end, and we don't do anything else. What we're actually saying here is the answer of putting negative 2 in this machine, in this expression, is 22. The answer of f of negative 2 is 22 in this case. Now, we can also use other letters. F of x is the most common one, but in this case, for example, they're using g of x, and that's just another way of saying the same thing, but we could also call it f of x. So in this case, we have to do the same, but with g, and the value given is negative 4. Notice that this machine is different. In this case, we're first going to square the number, and then we're going to multiply it by the triple of the number, minus 2. And so we change the value. Here is negative 4 and negative 4. And using order of operations, we're going to simplify these very carefully. So if I multiply 16 times negative 14, we get negative 224. And again, we keep the g minus 4 to say that that's our answer when I put negative 4 into the machine or into g of x. And that's it. Notice that you already know how to do this part because this is just a simple evaluation. What you just need to get used to is using this different notation, which is the functional notation. All right, I'll see you in the next lesson.